To my black people from all over the world, once again, welcome to the Africa Renaissance Show. And for quite a long time, the narratives about racism against the black people has been mainly centered against the racism that has taken place in Western countries. These are countries such as the USA and also Britain. And for this time, we have forgotten about another racism against the black people, which has been equally, if not more destructive than the racism that has taken place against the black people in Western countries. And what am I talking about? Today, I want to discuss about extreme racism and mistreatment against the black people that has taken place in the Arabic world. And this entails the northern Africa, the northern part of Africa, and also the Middle East. But right before we proceed, have a look at this video.
Why are some Africans leaving Tunisia? Well, it all started in February when the President Kais Saied gave a speech. He said that migration was a plot being used to change the country's racial makeup and ordered security forces to crack down on undocumented migrants. Now, some sub-Saharan Africans say they're experiencing racist attacks.
On nous frappe, on nous matraque. Après le discours du président, nous sommes toujours attaqués. Mais pourquoi tant de racisme?
President Saied later backtracked. He denied any racism and said that his focus was on illegal migrants. His remarks sparked criticism from the African Union and from human rights groups who took to the streets. Some analysts say the president's comments were meant as a distraction as he struggles to control the country.
Le pays est en crise majeure, économique, politique et de société, je dirais. Et on prend des boucs émissaires par-ci, par-là, parce que les gens sont dans le désarroi.
Around 21,000 migrants from sub-Saharan Africa live in Tunisia, according to official estimates. The actual figure is probably far higher, but still only a fraction of the population of 12 million. Ivory Coast and Guinea have organized voluntary flights for their citizens, as many migrants say they no longer feel safe in Tunisia.
To my black people, the video that you just watched represents violence and mistreatment against the black people in the country of Tunisia. And this is not the first time that you're experiencing such an incident, yeah? Because this has happened in other North African countries, and I may give an example of Morocco. Just the other month, there were more than 60 Africans who are killed, by the police of that country. And each and every time when they kill black people, they come up with excuses. If you also remember the incidences in Libya, after 2011, after NATO ousted Gaddafi, black people were taken as slaves in that country. They were also sold in slave markets. So this represents the kind of racism that exists in Northern Africa against black people. And at this point in time, I must say that I'm quite frustrated by the reactions in sub-Saharan African countries, by specifically the black people after, we are mistreated in this manner. And what I want to say is that we seem to be very docile, and each and every time there is racism or mistreatment of black people in the Arabic world, we always seem to make excuses for it. Yeah, it is not the same manner when there are incidences of racism against the black people in the West. We call out all those incidences, as fast as we can. But in Northern African countries, in Arabic countries, we always seem to be very silent, We seem like we're not bothered about these attacks. And it is very unfortunate because it somehow encourages the Arabs to continue with the acts of racism against the black people. And today, I want to discuss two things that we can do to stop this type of actions, this type of harassment against the black people. And the first one is that we must understand the concept of reciprocity. And what I mean by this is that we have to understand as the black people that we also have power, and that this is not the 1700s when slavery used to take place, that this is 2020, 2023, and we have a lot of power in our hands if we so decide to use it, so that we can discourage future attacks and future mistreatments against black people by, Arabs. And one concept that we have to understand is that the concept of reciprocity. And what I mean by this is that, you see, one West African country, and the country is Ivory Coast. Yeah, in Ivory Coast there are thousands and thousands of Arabs, and in fact, according to the estimate figures that I have, is that we have more or less 500,000 Arabs in Ivory Coast alone. Yeah, and this is just one country, Western African country that you're talking about. In Tunisia, these attacks began when the president said that there was an attempt to change the demographics of that country so that blacks could dominate, in that country. But according to the statistics that we have, the blacks who are living in Tunisia, they are just 21,000, 21,000 black people in that country. Compare that to the situation in Ivory Coast, where we have more than 500,000 Arabs in that country, not forgetting that the Arabs in Ivory Coast are the elites, they have a lot of money, yeah. So we have a lot of leverage, and at least we could have taken, actions, to revenge what happened in Tunisia. And one of the things that we could have done, because I'm 100% sure that not all the 500,000 Arabs in Tunisia, in Ivory Coast, are in that country legally. Yeah, I'm very sure that most of them came as tourists, and overstayed their visas and decided to stay in that country. So why can't we exercise our leverage, when they attack our people in Tunisia? We also, have a crackdown against them in Ivory Coast. So not unless we do this, not unless we do this and the Arab countries realize that for everything that they do against the black people, there's gonna be consequences, then this is going to continue until Jesus returns. And the second thing that I think that we have to do is that we have to speak out against these incidences. So, and this is not only the responsibility of our politicians, but also the common people in sub-Saharan African countries. Because I don't know, when we face all this mistreatment in the Arabic world, even on social media platforms, there are not so many people talking about it, and also our politicians. Our politicians are elected representatives, and of course they have a lot of power. So if they are not willing to take retaliatory measures against Arabs, at least it is necessary for them at least to call the media and make a statement on it. And this is going to, reduce these instances. It is going to raise the awareness of the people, and which in the long term, it is going to reduce instances of racism, against the black people, because of course, when most of the people are aware, they are going to take some action. So that is what I have for today. If you would like to watch more of this content, make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Thank you.